Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to World of Warships Legends. Here at the home, another slightly above average ship review. Today in this video, we are reviewing the current campaign ship, the Pyotr Bagration, which I was able to get thanks to the Eagle earn-up. Got one crack in there, followed it up about 5 matches later with another crack, and don't worry, both those games are incoming. We are on Tears of the Desert in a domination match. As you can see, we are top tier in the Pyotr Bagration. And as the match gets started, I will issue a little bit of a spoiler. There's no review of the commander in the port, but there's going to be a ship review after the match, going over the stats and whatnot. So if that interests you, just stay tuned after the battle and you can see that. The miniature spoiler alert continues. We are using the base commander, Nikolai von Essen. His skill choices in row one, we chose no fly zone, simply because the majority of the aircraft carriers I see in the game are at tier 7. And I'm expecting now that they've introduced a tier 5 premium aircraft carrier, at some point they will introduce either a tier 7 premium aircraft carrier or a legendary premium aircraft carrier like the Enterprise or something like that. So um, that's why I chose that skill. We can talk more about that in a minute. I am running a concealment selection in row 2. Look at me now. In row 3, I am running the speed boost or the speed selection Velocious. And in the fourth row, I'm running Reaching Out XXL. And I think as a result of the handling of the ship in this match, I came to the conclusion that perhaps the fourth row rudder ship skill, um, maybe it's barely out of peril. I don't remember the name of it. I'm actually not connected to the internet right now while I'm recording this. Um, and I love shooting islands, as you can see right there. And the legendary skill is Will to Rebuild, and that doesn't even trigger or proc in this match. So fully packed, you would get an extra heal and an extra sonar. But you can see here, we got a broadside Mogami. My shots aren't totally on target, falling a little bit short. I think he's turning away a little bit. But this armor penetrating ammo, the AP ammo, we're up to 4 citadels and 3 salvos. Now, somebody else benefits from all our hard work. But here's a Kutuzov, and we're going to start shooting at the Kutuzov. You know, the Peter Bagration, all about that armor piercing, and the performance of the armor piercing was pretty nice, I think. And that's one of the reasons why I chose this commander was his base trait provides a benefit to armor piercing. And so, you know, I've tried all 3 commanders, played about 10 games in the Pyotr Bagration, probably 4 with the base commander, 3 with Kuznetsov, and 3 with Makarov. You know, look, it just comes down to your personal choices. If you think the rudder shift is most important, and there's also a turret traverse boost with Makarov, at least with the skills I have with Makarov, you know, then you're going to choose Makarov. If you're all about the guns, you want to have max range. With Kuznetsov, you can get out to about 20 kilometers of range and get the reload down around 9 seconds. Then you're going to choose Kuznetsov. And If you want to kind of split the difference, like me, then you're going to use the base commander. All right, you can see uh, someone set a smoke screen for the cruiser. He drops off. Iowa starts to shoot at us a little bit. So that's why I kind of got out of Dodge. Nobody spotting. You know, the destroyer is probably a half a kilometer away from us right there. So, well, probably more than that, let's be honest. I just, he's very close to us. He's not out there in front spotting. So we can't see the cruiser. I would say in this ship, my opinion is your number one target should be other cruisers, especially broadside cruisers. You can really punish them. The Katutsov comes back up. We get one salvo off, and then he's kind of turning and slowing down. We are getting our turrets lined up and continuing to shoot at him. Bismarck over here to the right, not having a ton of luck at range here. And we are being damaged by his return salvos. We're going to turn back to port here, kind of switch places with the destroyer. We do torp at the Bismarck, but he is starting to turn. So, spoiler alert, those torpedoes are not going to do anything. Here's a look at the armor piercing against the superstructure of a same tier battleship. You can see three pens, no problem penetrating, no problem doing damage. Maybe not the most damage, but you can do damage. All right, we're going to nose back out from behind this island and get some more shots at the Kututsov. He is fully broadside. That is a good salvo. And you can see chunked the damage right there. And he goes behind this island. These shells have a low trajectory. They're not going to arc over and get a hit there. All right, we've got an Iowa and an AL Baltimore in addition to the Katutsov over there. So I am going to turn back here, kind of go between the island. I believe the Bismarck was killed. And speaking of getting killed, keep an eye on the left side of the screen on the Iowa. Yep, the Katutsov launched torpedoes a million years ago, and the Iowa just drove right in them. All right, so essentially, right here, my thought was the red team Iowa is going to come out to the middle after me, and I'm going to meet him with some torpedoes. Spoiler alert, despite the maneuverings and machinations, that never occurs. So back to the commander choices. At the end of the day, if you are going to be playing the ship at max range, just know that your maneuverability, your handling of the ship is going to suffer, but you'll have the quickest reload, do the most damage, and have the longest range with Kuznetsov. If you are going to be doing a ton of kiting, you will have a similar reload um, to what we have right now. Your turret traverse will be improved slightly if you use the same commander skill choices that I have with Makarov. Your speed and handling will be increased. You can tell the difference. Um, but in terms of offense, really not going to have a whole lot other than what comes with the ship normally. Um, with the base commander here with Von Essen, we're getting better pen angles on our armor piercing, which is the ship's bread and butter. We're getting a concealment drop. I want to say with those other commanders, your concealment um, is probably going to be 12 and change, if not higher. So we're saving a couple of kilometers in terms of concealment. And, that's um, without the benefit of running a full concealment build. I think I am using Macau as an inspiration. And then the other one is probably um, Mimbelli. That's just a guess. I'm sorry. I didn't go into the port and look at the commander before or after the match. I just kind of threw him in here. Here we are, broadside to an AL Baltimore. This is disappointing. You can see the shell impacts right there real quickly on his hull, and we just did not get any love there. Looks like the Iowa's backing up. We are going to torp one at him. Here's some more armor piercing against the superstructure of a battleship. As you can see, we have no problem getting penetrations and doing damage. However, I'm getting onto dodge because that looks like a bad place for a cruiser to be at, that close to an Iowa. You can see our secondaries are going up and doing a pretty good job. Iowa gets killed by somebody else. We are going to come around the island, and here is where our base trait comes into play. The AL Baltimore is going to be angled at us. Not a perfect angle, but I would say maybe a 40-degree angle. And we're going to have no problem penetrating and citadeling and killing AL Baltimore from that angle right there. So that's where the base trait of this commander comes into play, allowing you to bow tank or have a angling ship as long as it's cruiser, and you're able to take him out. All right, so I think at this point I believed the Katutsov was in between these two islands in front of us, and I was just parking here, kind of chilling out, hoping he would make himself visible. Have a Suzuya back here that I asked for help, but I'm just going to hang out here and get this solo base cap. I did watch a review of the Peter Bagration or Pyotr Bagration, Pete Bags, some people were calling it. I don't know about all that, but I was watching some reviews, and some people appear to really not like this ship. And I mean, that's all good, different strokes for different folks. And you know, I'm not a cruiser player. Um, but if you said to me, hey, pick a Tier 7 Russian cruiser, I don't, I don't know. This has a couple of heels. I kind of like that, you know. Um, I would have to play more games in it against legendary ships before I became convinced it was a go-to. I mean, you got the Ochakov, which is just a rapid-fire AG spamming menace. You got the Katutsov, which I play as a ranged, harassing HE ship. Honestly, I wish that one of those two ships had been a tier 6 ship, so that way we don't have the logjam of ships, premium tier 7 cruisers. But, you know, clearly Ouija doesn't care about that because they logjam the tier 6 US premium destroyers. Pardon me, allergies. I just wish that a little more thought was put into how the premium ships are arranged. And look, if they can take a tier 8 PC Asashio, kill pinch alert. Yeah. Oh, we took fire. We are taking fire from, I guess, the Kuznetsov in that smoke screen there. Teammates, right there, Kuznetsov. Um, and eventually, at some point here, I'm going to turn to starboard to get my port side torpedo launcher in action. And I want to tell you that by doing that, I may have sealed my own doom. So real quick back to what I was saying. If I totally lost my train of thought, but I just wish that instead of log jamming premium ships into a certain tier, they would have spread them out more. They can take a tier 8 PC Asashio and make it a tier 6 on console. Then, you know, you could have made one of the three Russian cruisers at tier 7. You could have made it a tier 6 ship. All right, we do get the Katutsov. He was giving us that full broadside. Another couple citadels, I think, and his death. But unfortunately, we couldn't maneuver around his torpedoes. Perhaps having the rudder selection before this commander would have allowed us to stay alive. Not that we could have killed the other ship, and the match is going to end here really soon. So that was my game of the 10 games I played in the Pyotr Bagration. I wanted to show you. I think I showed you have a really good citadeling ability against enemy cruisers, can get pens in the superstructures of battleships for damage. Um, torpedoes are not worthless, but I think they're kind of an afterthought, even with their range, because it takes so long to reload. So I'm not really emphasizing torpedoes. However, if you didn't want to use the plane skill in row one, no fly zone, I would use the torpedo skill. All right, victory screen, 87,621 total damage, over 400,000 silver. We had 66 hits, 3 big kills, 11 hits to Citadel, a solo base cap, and 12 secondary battery hits. 53, 47 ship XP, commander XP. There we are at the top of the board. 2742 base XP with those 3 big kills. By the way, the most kills of any ship on either team. All right, there's our commander into the port. Aiming system mod 1, steering gears mod 2, concealment system mod 1, and gunfire control system mod 3. All right, loadout. We've got 2 charges of the sonar and 2 charges of the repair party. We did run that epic battle booster, permanent camo type 9, and the VMF day 21 flag. 42,000 hit points and a 16% torpedo damage reduction. 3x3, 180 millimeter guns, 17.6 kilometer firing range, 11-second reload, 22.5-second turn time, 2,500 HE shell damage, 13% fire chance. AP shells do 45-50 damage. Your secondary complement, 8 twin 100s, 5.2 kilometer firing range, reload in 4 seconds, which is pretty good. HE shells do 1,400 damage with a 4% fire chance. 2x5 torpedo launchers reload in 131 seconds, 8 kilometer range, just 55 knots. AA defense, you can see it's really good. It is boosted by no fly zone, row 1. Max speed 36.9 knots, 8.4-second rudder shift time, turning circles bad. Concealment 10.6 on the surface, 7.1 from the air, 7.8 when firing in smoke. Taking a look at the armor viewer, we take it all off, kind of above water, partially above water Citadel. That's not so hot. And we put it back on. I want to say we have a 25 millimeter bow. That's the review. I hope you enjoyed it as I put the armor back on. And don't forget to hit that like button if you did. Thanks so much, everybody.